So I broke my nose. Hey there guys, I'm so glad you're here. Today we're taking a quick break from our regularly scheduled wavy curly hair programming and doing a little catch up because it's been a minute. I would love to do a get ready with me, let's play around with makeup. I'll kind of show you how I do my makeup / play around with trying to cover up a bruise and tell you what has happened in the past couple of weeks. As always, I'm going to try and be helpful and share information with you guys. I will be sharing some info about broken noses if you're interested. If you're not interested, I totally understand. I'll catch you in the next video. You might want to go ahead and subscribe and click that notification bell so that when we're back to talking all things wavy curly hair, we can hang out again. But this video is going to be me playing around with makeup and telling you what happened. All right, to get started, I am actually going to play around with some color correctors. I have talked about color theory a little bit here on this channel, and we're gonna be doing color theory to some extent. The problem is I have no idea what color this bruise is. It keeps changing colors on me. I have a little bit of bruising down here as well. I just broke my nose, but I only bruised on one side and it kind of dripped down, I guess. Looking at it for a minute, I'm seeing a lot of purple in this. So the opposite of purple, or the complementary color to purple on the color wheel, is yellow. So we're gonna be using the NYX color correcting palette. I bought 3 color correcting palettes. I have the Stila, I have the Makeup Revolution, and I have this one. Ooh. The Makeup Revolution yellow is almost green in color, which is weird in comparison to the NYX one. And you'll see that? There we go. And as this bruise has a whole lot of red in it, it's a more reddy purple than it is a blue purple. I'm gonna be using the more greeny purple to try and cancel it out. Okay, so what happened to my face? I grew up riding horses and I barrel raced for a very long time. And that is something that I really enjoy. So on Fridays, that is something that my sister and I enjoy doing together. We go hang out at my parents' place and ride horses. Well, on this particular Friday, I decided to ride my mare and we had a particularly good day. If you've been around horses, they're unpredictable. They are animals. They have a mind of their own, and most of the time, they're incredibly safe if you know what you're doing. That being said, they are animals. Okay, wow. Wowzers, that worked really good. Okay, I'm gonna try and not build this up too much, because if I do, it'll be cakey. But that worked really good. As I trained horses for years, I really enjoy it. I really love horses. I tended to work with the more fractious horses, the ones that were a little bit more ornery. And I'm accustomed to working with horses that are a little bit more persnickety. Well, my mare is persnickety. She always has been, and she has bucked me off before. For context, I had been training horses for 10 years and hadn't been bucked off. I had been riding young horses, I had been riding wild horses. I hadn't been bucked off in 10 years. Well, this mare, when she was 2 years old, she bucked me off. And that's a feather in her belt. I'm hard to buck off. I just took a little bit of green and canceled out the red spots, because as we'll get to later in the story, I didn't get to wash my face for a week, so there's some broken out spots on my face. Anyway, she bucked me off. It's no big deal. She was 2 years old. It's what 2-year-old horses do sometimes. She's always been a lot. But 2 weeks ago, on Friday, she had a great day. She was so good, which should have been a warning to me, I guess. I have really been loving this e.l.f. Camo Concealer. It's a 16-hour camo matte finish concealer in the shade Medium Sand. I like it because it really dries down to a powder finish. I still have to set it because I'm oily greasy and everything creases on me, but I've been enjoying this one. I tend to change up my concealers anyway. So, after a particularly good day of writing, I had her unsaddled, I was brushing her off, everything was hunky-dory. I'm gonna try and just put a really thin layer right there, and I am going to put extra concealer here to make sure we're balanced, I guess. Okay, and I have a green spot here, so we're gonna try and cover that up, and I'm gonna balance it out. And you know what? My nose is mostly straight now, but I'm gonna highlight it down the middle. So I was taking my mare and turning her out back in her pasture. But as I was unsaddling her and getting her ready to turn her out, a cold front blew in and the weather turned and it was about to rain, really windy, very cold. That is a perfect condition for a horse that even the nicest of horses to get a little bit frisky. My mare does not need much of an excuse to get frisky, and she was being bad. I'm not gonna pretend like it was just a fluke. No, she was being bad. As I was taking the halter off, she dropped her head down and jumped up. Well, the top of her head hit me in the nose, and she was moving as fast. It was a hard jump. Like, she went down and came up as fast as she could because she was mad that I was not taking the halter off of her as fast as she would like, because the wind was blowing and she would like to go run and play in her pasture and be free. She hit me hard. I don't feel like that covered up very well at all. That's sad. Okay, I'm not sure how to get this to cover. As I blended it out with a Real Techniques blending sponge, it like just took not only the color corrector off, but it also took the concealer off. Okay, maybe if I tap it with my finger, I can get some coverage out of it and like let it dry down before it, okay, that's working. I'm just gonna let that dry down for a second and tell you and focus on talking to you about this part of the story. So she drops her head down, she comes up, she hits me in the nose. I didn't know where she had hit me because it happened so fast. What I did know is I heard a very loud whack and a snap, like wood breaking, like really loud. Also, I knew that I was no longer standing on the ground. I was going up and over backwards. I saw sky and I saw trees and then I saw dirt. As I'm going through the air, I go, okay, I'd heard a loud whack. That means that something got hit. And I'm going through my body parts in my mind as I'm going through the air. It's really interesting when I'm around horses, I go into hyper-logical mode. Emotion just leaves and it becomes almost clinical feeling to me. So I clinically start going through my body parts as I'm flying through the air. Did she hit my arm? No, my arms feel okay. Did she hit my chest? No, my chest feels okay. My shoulders, everything feels good. Man, my neck kind of hurts. Oh, she hit my nose. As I realized that it was my nose that had been hit, that was about the time that I landed on my hands and knees. I did a full backflip and landed on the dirt in my hands and knees. The instant I hit the ground, blood just starts, I'm sorry, this is gross. I don't know if the YouTube algorithm will let me say that, but my nose just starts pouring. Like 2 faucets have been turned on geysers just coming out of my nose, and the pain hits. It was bad. But as I'm sitting there with the geysers going and the pain being very intense, I'm like, I gotta know how bad it is. I reach up and I feel of it, and I can tell that instead of going this direction, it's doing this number. I felt a bend this way, and a bend this way, and a bend this way. And my mare, she's great. She's long gone. The halter came right off of her, and she is playing and frisking in the wild, not really in the wild, in her pasture, happy as a clam. Needless to say, I knew I was hurt. I knew I needed to go to the ER like right then. My darling sister, I called her. She was actually not at the barn with me. She had actually gone back up to the house. I called her and I was like, I'm hurt. I broke my nose. I need help. She takes me to the ER. My mother takes care of the kiddos. Okay, that has dried down pretty well. I would like to put some more coverage on my face, and not a lot of coverage. I think I'm gonna try out this Sephora powder for my coverage. I really like using powder as a foundation. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's what really works well for my skin. Before I go in with this powder foundation though, I do wanna set this concealer, and I splurged. I broke my nose and I was feeling sorry for myself. So I bought the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. This is so spendy, but I wanted to try it, and I've wanted to try it for years, and I knew I was gonna need it to help set concealer for a while until this bruise goes away. I'm gonna be setting it with that powder and then going in with a powder to be my foundation. Lots of powder on my face. Another thing that went through my mind as I was flying through the air, assessing which part of my body had been injured, I also knew that I was gonna be going to the ER because I knew it was bad. And I thought, okay, I'm also going to have surgery today. Like when you get seriously hurt and a bone is really badly broken, I've been in situations where people have gotten hurt in horse accidents, and that's just what happens. You get seriously injured, you're getting a hospital stay that night, you're getting surgery. So that is what I am thinking is going to happen as my sister and I are driving to town. No, we did not call an ambulance because where we were riding is really far from town, and it would have taken longer for the ambulance to come get me than it would have been for us to just drive into town. Was that drive painful? Yes, it was, but it was okay. And it was just my nose. I knew it was just my nose, or so, like that's what I thought. Is that the wisest decision? No. Am I telling you that that's what you need to do in that situation? No, but it's what we did. As we're driving to the ER, I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna have surgery. They're gonna do something about my face today. We get to the ER, they check me out. They give me things for the pain, which I am so grateful for. And after doing a CT scan of my head, they see that I am not in any danger, that there's no like breaks other than just my nose, and I'm safe. I am okay. And they go, great, here's some pain meds, a box of Kleenex, call your ENT. What now? Do you see what happened to my nose? You're not gonna do anything other than give me pain meds and tell me to call my ear, nose, and throat doctor? It's Friday, guys. It's Friday in the afternoon. My ENT, I can't get a hold of him until Monday. They're like, you'll be fine. I was not expecting that. I guess in the deep recesses of my brain, I did know that you can't really do anything for a broken nose, but in my mind, I'm going to the ER. It's actually an urgent care. It's not attached to a hospital, it was an urgent care. And in my mind, I thought, okay, they're gonna at least like crack my nose and make it straight, like put it back into place. No, that's not what they did. But they did make me feel a whole lot better, which was deeply appreciated. It's not great. The base is not great, but it's better than it was. Moving on to bronzer. I've really been loving this Milani bronzer. It is Suntan No. 3 Silky Matte. It's a little dark, so I use a light hand. I really like the undertone. It's kind of a more reddy undertone than an orange undertone, and I have very cool undertones, so the red tends to look better on me than the orangey or more yellow bronzers. They didn't crack my nose at the ER, like set it back in place. They just gave me pain meds and told me to call my doctor in the morning, essentially. It was the weekend and very difficult to get a hold of my ear, nose, and throat doctor. You may be going, Courtney, why do you have an ear, nose, and throat doctor? Well, for one, where I live, the allergies are absolutely terrible. Secondly, this is the funny part. Back in December, I had actually had surgery to repair a deviated septum. Yep, I had had deviated septum surgery in December with my ENT. 5 months later, I have my nose extremely broken, completely, like crushed. So even though it was the weekend, I was able to get a hold of my ENT, and they told me, okay, they did the right thing. There's really nothing they can do. The swelling is so bad they can't reset your nose right now, so we will see you first thing on Monday. And boy howdy did they get me right in on Monday, and I really, really appreciate that. I am just taking a little bit of highlighter. It is a Wet n Wild powder highlighter called Blossom Glow. I love this as eyeshadow. I've been doing this for years. And now I've got the highlighter on my eyelids. I am just going to be taking my bronzer and putting it with a fluffy brush in the crease of my eye. This is what I do. It's great. So the ENT got me in first thing in the morning on Monday. I was very grateful about that. And when he took a look at the CT scan from the urgent care, he didn't know I could hear him. He and his nurse were outside the room. The door was cracked. They were sad, guys. I heard the nurse say, yeah, that's pretty badly mutilated. 5 months earlier, I had had surgery, and all that work just crushed. He comes in and he tells me that this break is so severe that he will not be able to repair the break. So I get to go to a plastic surgeon. Not that I'm upset about that, but it's just another doctor's visit, more time before we can get the nose fixed. All this time, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, my face is hurting. They did give me some pain meds, but me and pain meds, we don't get along very well. And they were making me feel so ill that I was throwing up some, and you really don't want to be throwing up when your nose is broken. It's just very painful. Let's do some brows, shall we? I am taking the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara in. Feel like it's blonde. Yeah, it's blonde. I don't love this one. I prefer one that's more taupey. This one's kind of yellowy, but it's good enough, and it's what I have in my drawer at the moment. I've been uncomfortable this whole time, and while I am grateful that the doctor made the right call, my ENT made the right call to have me see a plastic surgeon, I want to get this fixed because I'm hurting. Then the next step in the process is going to see the plastic surgeon. I'm able to see the plastic surgeon the next day. Wonderful. And in the time in between seeing my ENT and the plastic surgeon, my mind is going. I am thinking, and stuff is churning in my brain. How is this gonna go? And for whatever reason, in my weird brain, I thought, okay, cool. I'm gonna go see, this is the Maybelline Sky High Mascara in brown. Brown, not black brown, not brownie black, brown. I love that. Brown mascaras make my blue eyes look more blue, so I've always preferred a brown mascara to a black one. Continuing, in my mind, I thought that going to see a plastic surgeon about my broken nose and him to do surgery on my broken nose, that I had been told I would be having surgery rather quickly because you have a 14-day window after you break your nose to do reparative surgery. That's the window between, like that's the window that they kind of want to fit you in, because if you wait longer than 14 days, they have to re-break your nose to set it. That's how long it takes for the break to kind of heal. So I knew I was going to be having surgery rather quickly, and I knew I was going to be seeing the plastic surgeon the next day. Well, somehow in my mind, I thought, great, this means that I'm getting a brand new custom-made Courtney nose when I have surgery. So when I went into the plastic surgeon the next day, that's what I was thinking was going to happen. Well, turns out that he was going to be able to set the break, but my face, my nose was so badly broken that it wouldn't be like walking into his office, picking out a custom nose out of his big book of noses and having a brand new nose plugged on my face. He was going to have to reset the break, but any cosmetic changes to the nose would have to be done 6 months post surgery. So I was able to get a surgery date that was actually exactly 1 week to the minute from when my nose was broken. So my nose was broken around 3:30 on a Friday, and I had surgery the next week with a plastic surgeon in the hospital to set the break at 3:30. I was told not to eat or drink anything that day, like from midnight till my surgery. That was hard. I did not do that well. I should have hydrated way better on the Thursday before my surgery. I was very dehydrated by 3:30 when I had my surgery. But the surgery was very, very quick, very, very successful. The plastic surgeon was very happy with how that went. And then I got to wear a stent on my nose for another week. And I had 2 stents in my nose and 1 on outside of my nose. The last step in my makeup routine is lipstick, and this one is the Maybelline lipstick. I don't know which one. It's the lipstick that comes in this packaging, and it's Warm Me Up 235. I don't know if it's like shine or matte or long lasting or whatever, but it's this color, and I like this color because it looks like my lips, but better. And now I'm done with my makeup, but I'm not done with my story. So I'll just finish up with my story real quick. So surgery went really, really well. And because of you guys, I was chit-chatting with y'all on Instagram, sharing my woes with anesthesia and pain meds and all of that. I don't react very well to them. And a few of y'all suggested some things that I talked to the anesthesiologist in the hospital about, and it was awesome. Amend was one of the things that you guys suggest that I ask the anesthesiologist about, and a patch, which is like the seasickness patch. We did those 2 things, and I felt amazing post-op. I did have that deviated septum surgery in December, and recovery from that was awful, just awful. I not only kind of had a weird reaction to the anesthesia where I basically slept for a week. I wasn't really awake. It took a long time for that to get out of my system. I was also incredibly sick to my stomach. This time I was kind of expecting that sort of recovery, but I told the anesthesiologist about what happened last time. They made adjustments and I was fine the next day. Pain was like a half on a scale of 1 to 10. It was not bad at all. The healing process, wearing the stent, it didn't hurt. I didn't even need to reach for the stronger pain medication that the plastic surgeon prescribed post-op. It didn't hurt. It was wonderful. So after surgery, my post-op instructions were to not get my face wet at all because I had the stent on the outside and they really wanted it to stick and to stay. Brace, stent, I don't know if I'm calling it the right thing, but what I did was I was just using baby wipes to like wipe the grease and oil off of my face, and that was it. It worked really, really well. My brace stent stayed on for the full week post-op, which was awesome. The toughest part about recovery from the surgery was the stents in my nose. They're kind of like straws that they put up your nose. I know, I make myself cringe, I'm sorry. They would tickle anytime I would smile or open my mouth or try and eat. They would move, and they were kind of digging into the end of my nose, which was very uncomfortable. But as you can see, I am now stent free. I got the stent off a week after surgery and I feel so much better. My nose is still very swollen. The plastic surgeon can't tell me exactly what it's gonna look like once all the swelling goes down. I don't think I explained really well why I would need a second surgery. I did talk about having to wait to make cosmetic adjustments in 6 months. That's not all. So as I had deviated septum surgery in December and my nose was not fully healed from that, and then it broke so severely, there is a chance that it will need more surgery in order to function properly as a nose. I never have thought of myself as a vain person, but the nose is kind of in the middle of my face, and it's kind of hard when the nose is like not how it used to look. I hate change. I don't like things to change. And for my nose to not look how it used to bothers me. Does it bother anyone else? No. Is it really that big a deal? No, but it is different than it was before. It is swollen, so we don't know what it's gonna look like once it chills out, but I can feel that it's still a little crooked. Even though the break is set straight, it doesn't feel like it did before. There will be some scarring that happens that creates, a bump in the middle of my nose. Not a big deal, but the main concern with needing a second surgery is not cosmetic concerns. It's actually that the septum is going to collapse and need to be reconstructed because of how badly it was crushed. You do have to wait 6 months in between setting a break and doing adjustments because you have to wait for the nose to fully heal. He can't really go in there and make changes because everything is so inflamed, so injured, it's just kind of all mush. You have to wait for it to heal fully in order to really fix it, I guess. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. I hope this was helpful to you because I learned some things through this process of breaking my nose that I didn't know before. One way that you can really support this channel is to comment, share, and like this video. For whatever reason, the YouTube algorithm really appreciates the like button, so I would appreciate it. Thank you for listening to my story. As for the makeup, I haven't worn makeup in a week because I got the stents off yesterday, and it feels weird if I'm being honest. I'm not used to seeing myself with makeup now. I don't think I did the best job of covering up the bruise, but it's better than it was. As always, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.